It's the one that says bad mother.
I finally watched Pulp Fiction.
For the first time.
For the first time.
What were your expectations going into it?
Well, I had seen...
You've kind of heard the hype all these years, right?
Yeah, it's gotten a lot of hype. I've seen Django, parts of Inglourious Basterds. I feel like there's another Tarantino movie that I've seen. Maybe not. Django and Inglourious Basterds were like super gory and like really over the top as far as like the violence goes, and like everything looks really like kind of cheesy, but to the point where it's like it's obviously not, like it's so dramatic and so exaggerated. And so I was kind of expecting that, because that's what I've seen in Tarantino movies.
Like, what did you think it was about?
I have literally no idea. I don't think, like, in all the years that people have talked about Pulp Fiction, I don't know if anybody had ever explained the story or like who the characters were. I had completely forgotten that Bruce Willis was even in it. Like,
yeah.
I feel like I had always known Pulp Fiction, and I'd always known that it had been like a classic, but I don't think I ever really knew what it was actually about. It's probably my favorite of the Tarantino movies that I've watched. I thought that the characters were all believable as like people. Because you ever think about that hitmen have downtime, you know, like when they're driving around or they're like killing time before, you know, or that like they're not literally killing somebody every hour on the hour. That like you just saw them like just talking about
Royale with cheese.
Yeah, like burgers in Europe, you know,
yeah.
And I thought...
Look at the big brain on Brad.
I think that we think about hitmen and bank robbers and boxers, like, you know, I think we like think about all these people and we always just assume that they don't have the capacity.
Are you pleading the case right now for murderers and stuff that, you know, they're just people too?
They're just people.
They're just people too, guys.
Just,
and this movie
they
shows
need love.
that. They're just people.
They just need love too.
Yeah.
No, but you know what I mean? Like you don't think about, like, you're like, oh, like that guy's a murderer, like he has no capacity to love. And some people would argue that that's true, that like, you know, if you're willing to kill somebody that you can't love somebody.
But I bet he eats hamburgers.
But I bet he eats hamburgers.
And that's what this movie shows.
And I bet that he has a honey bunny. And he calls her lemon pie, which is adorable. Bruce Willis calls his little French chick lemon pie.
Yeah.
And then he throws a TV. And then he gets all sweet again.
Yeah. He's sensitive and fine.
And I wanted more Walken.
More Walken. You gotta have Walken in small doses, or it wears off.
No.
Guys.
You always need more Walken.
I've enjoyed this movie for quite a while. It's definitely one of my favorite Tarantino films.
You like Django better.
I do like Django better. I probably like Django the most. What's interesting about this now is I haven't seen it in probably a decade, and it used to always be touted as hyper-violent and, you know, just full of kind of bloody and violence, but I feel like at the time maybe, but now when you look back and you watch it, it's pretty timid, and it's almost more of a dark comedy than like a violent whatever film, a violent Tarantino film. If you kind of look back at it, it's more just like a dark comedy, because when it came out originally, I was just a kid, you know, it was like, well, you can't see that, it's very much an adult movie, yeah. And then when I saw it, it was very much an adult movie, and I loved it, but now when I'm looking at it, it's almost more of a tamer...
Like a kid's movie.
It's like a kid's movie.
It's like a baby's toy.
It's like a baby's toy. I just love the back and forth, it's wonderful. It does really humanize violent characters you always see in film. But what didn't you like about the movie? This movie is so touted as being amazing. Was there something you didn't like about it?
It was long, but like it got to a point where I don't care if a movie's long if I never feel like it's long. Like if there's never a point in the movie where I'm sitting there, I'm just like, oh my gosh, like this movie's been going on forever. But like it kind of got like that a little bit towards the end of the movie.
So yeah, you can take out kind of any chunk. Like you could take out Travolta and
them going to that restaurant.
Yeah.
Although that restaurant seems awesome.
Yeah, it's a great restaurant.
I want to go to dinner there. We talked about how it reminds us of the sci-fi drive-in diner at Hollywood Studios at Disney World.
Yes, definitely. Yeah, it definitely has a very Disney aesthetic where like everything is like
Themed.
everything's themed and everything is part of the whole experience. So yeah, it's a very cool diner. But I definitely think it also drags a little bit. But it's tough because it's a classic movie, so it's like, well, what scene would you cut? I have no idea. What would you rate this movie?
I feel like this is another touchy subject because it's such a cult classic. An 8.
Okay.
I can see why it's a cult classic. I would watch it again.
Yeah.
But I mean, it was kind of long.
Sure.
It's probably higher ranked than I would rank, like, his more recent films.
It's higher ranked than his more recent ones.
Mm-hmm. I think so. I think
Because it's less violent, it's more realistic.
I would rather watch Pulp Fiction again than Django.
Interesting.
Except for, I love Christoph Waltz.
Yeah, he's great. I would probably give it an 8.5. I love it. Thanks for watching.
If James Gandolfini and Louis C.K. mated and had a creepy serial killer baby.
So he looks like Leonardo DiCaprio?
He's obviously a stud. I'm a dog.